Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Drajeweled Masks deck profile for post-Dragon Masquerade. This is the final of the 4 mask decks from set 10, being the Dark States Drajeweled deck, a deck that focuses on sort of the opposite playstyle of the original Drajeweled, setting your opponent's Vanguard still to 1, but also being able to retire your opponent's rearguards as well for the added pressure that this card can provide, along with the power to have it get critical +1 and using the option to remove an original Drajeweled as well from your hand or soul from this card, casting away the original form of Drajeweled Dragon also. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off as usual with the Rye deck, with our starter being Julius Draco Kid. When wrote upon, if you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Jewel Core Dragon. When this unit is wrote upon by Demonic Stone Dragon Drajeweled, call this card to rearguard. With this card also having the rearguard ability, when it attacks or boosts, this unit gets +5 until end of battle. At the end of the battle, put it back into your soul, giving you the grade 1 needed for you for one of the setups for your Demonic Jewel Dragon Drajeweled, and with the grade 2 being the Demonic Stone Dragon Jewel Neil. When this card is on Vanguard or Rearguard, when this unit attacks its Vanguard, Soul Charge 1. And when this unit is wrote upon by a unit with Drajeweled in its card name, you can Soul Charge 1. And if your Soul has 3 or more cards with different grades, draw a card. So more draw power, since you'll have the grade 2, grade 1, and grade 0 more than likely in your Soul. With our main go-to grade 3 being our Demonic Jewel Dragon Drajeweled, along with the copy of the Drajeweled that we are running in the Rye deck. We're also running 3 additional copies in the main deck, just so we have the multiples to be able to cast aside for our Drajeweled masks to use for its card ability. With this unit on Vanguard, once per turn, you can have +1, Soul Blast, you Soul Charge 2, and if the cards you Soul Charged have different grades, you may draw 1 card. So it's the initial setup that the original Drajeweled deck was meant to do, with the Soul Blast of 4 units with different grades, but you're going to more than likely use your Mask of Hydreigon to then ride into our next go-to main unit, which is our Karmic Demonic Jewel Dragon Drajeweled Mask, running 4 copies of this card for the full power of the Persona ride as well. It can only be ridden from a grade 3 with Drajeweled in its card name, and on Vanguard, once per turn, remove a card with Drajeweled in its different card name from this unit from your hand, soul, or drop. Choose 2 cards from your drop, put them into your soul, and this unit gets critical +1 till end of turn. And when this unit attacks a Vanguard, counter blast 1 and soul blast 4 cards with different grades to choose 2 of your opponent's rearguards, retire them, choosing one of your opponent's Vanguards, and increase or decrease its power to 1. So this could get rid of potential interceptors that your opponent may use, while still increasing the critical like the original Drajeweled did, and also setting your opponent's Vanguard to 1, making it that much more difficult to guard against the multitude of attacks that you can perform with this deck also. And for the next grade 3, 2 copies of the Heat Haze Acrobat Miroslava. When placed on rearguard from hand during your main phase, counterblast 1, choose a card with grade equal to or less than your Vanguard from your soul and put it into your hand. If you chose a card with the same grade or name as your Vanguard, and call it to rearguard. If you did not, if you put a card into your hand, this unit gets +5,000 to end of turn. So it's more recycle power for some of the other cards you may have in your soul. With this unit, we have a promo coming out in a few months that will be the substitute for this card, but I believe it's going to be like a Nationals promo, so maybe a little more harder to get access to, but you can still run this or additional copies of the grade 2 from the Ride deck for added soul charge power into the main Drajeweled unit. For the grade 2s, we are running the 4 copies of Demonic Stone Dragon Rockagore on rearguard once per turn. When this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if your soul has 4 or more cards with different grades, it gets +10,000 to end of turn. And on rearguard, when you soul blast 4 or more cards at the same time for the cost of your Vanguard's ability, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you can counter +1 and stand this unit, giving you the multiple attacks to go up against your opponent's unit, and then also have the added pressure since this card already gained the +10,000 before you use the Soul Blast on the first attack that it performs. Also running 3 copies of the Ultrasound Siri. Now this can be replaced for the grade 2 Mask Searcher, the skeleton grade 2 unit we received in Dragon Masquerade, just so you have a card that can easily search out the Mask of Hydreigon if you have the grade 2 spot to fill in with that new grade 2 double rare that we received from set 10. And for the grade 1s, 4 copies of Brainwash Swirler. I know this is a pretty pricey card, but still very, very useful in the deck. It has a when placed on rear guard, you can soul charge 1, and on rear guard, when your card is put into your soul by a soul charge, if your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, it gets plus 5,000 to end of turn. And this ability does stack for Brainwash Swirler, so the more you soul charge, the more power that this card will accumulate for you then to be able to either attack on your own with it, or boost a Vanguard or rear guard, and going up against a Vanguard of your opponents that's only at power 1 can definitely be some big numbers that they might not be able to guard against. And then also the 4 copies of Falcate Performer. When this unit boosts, choose up to 1 card from your drop, and if your soul does not have a card the same grade as that card, put this unit into your soul. So this helps to set up more of the different grade power in your soul. Just choosing a card from your drop, and if your soul doesn't have that card, you can meet the requirements just missing 1 grade. If it's a grade 0 or a grade 1, your Falcate Performer will help just with that boost of any unit to put that card into your soul for you then to use with your Drajeweled Dragon. And also for the Sentinel lineup, we're running the 3 copies of Repelled Malice Dragon and the 1 copy of Elementaria Sanctitude for the added triple drive prevention, and also the power of having 1 or less cards in hand and not having to pay the discard cost for your Sentinel. And then the only other order that we run in the deck is the 2 copies of Mask of Hydragram, having the search power for our Drajeweled Mask, but also being able to then ride our Drajeweled Mask on top of our original Drajeweled Dragon, activating Persona Ride, and then setting us up with the new grade 3 to then be able to Persona Ride with the other copies that we reveal off of this card as well. With the trigger lineup, we are going with the 7 critical to add with the pressure for our Vanguard, 4 copies of the Connected Rampage Clen, and then 3 copies of Stem Deviate Dragon. Since this is the one with the ability, if you wanted to drop 1 number of the Clen for a 4th copy of Stem Deviate Dragon, you can always swap those numbers around for the deck, with the next card being the draw trigger spot, which is 4 copies of Rose Wildmaster Riley for the additional 5k shield that this card can use when guarding against additional attacks. And also for the heals, just the generic heals. If you want to run any of the ability heals, we have the Caper Companion in here. You can always substitute some of the other heal spots for any of the heal triggers that will increase the added shield power when guarding against a specific attack, with the last trigger being the over trigger, the additional plus 10 each turn and critical plus 1. So the earlier you reveal this over trigger for the drive check, the better. And that is it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, big thanks to my buddy Jim for letting me borrow his Drajeweled deck for the video. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.